respected guests on the dais, our chief guest, Mr. K. Padmanabhaya, our chairperson, Mr. Arha, and our guest of honor and also sponsor, Mr. K.V. Satyanarayana, respected guests in the audience and delegates, especially from India and also from abroad. Thank you all for coming to our Indo Global Skill Summit today. I think it's a privilege for me to address you all and present a little bit about my company and my products, and kind of expose the kind of innovation and disruption that's happening in industry here in India. I think it's very apparent that most global economies, they're going through a tremendous change, and one thing we have to realize is that as a company, as a business, we are required to be very agile, very flexible, and constantly adapt to the changing circumstances. At the same time, the people that we are hiring as well, we expect the same of them. That there should be a culture of agility, culture of innovation, culture of discipline at the same time, right? And then the skills that you are acquiring over time will also be there to help you. So skill development, learning, etc. It's a constant process. It's not a one-time process, right? I'm sure all of us are going through the same thing. I'm sure all of us, our job roles, etc. We change over time, and that is something that is necessary. It's a necessary for any society, for any business, any entity over time, for that process to keep happening. We as a company, Beardsell Limited, we're a more than 100-year-old established entity. Our main business line was in packaging, with thermocol packaging, styrofoam packaging for all the appliances in across manufactured across India. I would say we're one of the top manufacturers. We supply to all the marquee names like Godrej, Haier India, LG Electronics India, a number of other companies, number of pharma companies. A lot of the top seafood exporters buy their packing for their food exports from us. So this was our stable business, and then we realized that unless we innovate, we were going to get swamped. We would be beaten down, and we took the path of innovation. And what we decided was, our motto itself, a company motto, we decided it was going to be excellence through innovation. And innovation is the key for us now to generate jobs in this economy. It's how to do things better in a different way, in a new way, and that's the way to lead the economy forward. I'm going to just present our new product line called QuikBuild to you. This is basically a German technology that we adapted for use in the Indian context. We made it better, lower cost. We adapted it for specifically the Indian type of construction that's being done. And where it ties into skill development is that there's going to be huge amount of construction happening in India now. And I am hoping that we don't follow the traditional path of building the plain, simple RCC structures, but use the more newer and more better suited construction methods that will then help India in terms of energy saving, in terms of cost saving, time saving, and so many other factors. These are some of the examples that some of our clients have done. This is a beautiful guest house that was constructed by the Krishnapatnam port for use by their managing director. It combines some elements of Balinese and also a prefabricated technology that is manufactured by Beardsell. A lot of our customers happen to be very educated, very wealthy people, and what's very interesting is that they take the time to do their due diligence, and then they come up and say, we want to buy your product because we believe in it. This is a hospital in Tamil Nadu, Jeevodaya Hospital. Again, entire hospital was done with our prefabricated construction technology. I'm going to ask my branch manager, Vijay Bhaskar, to just stand up. We have a small booth set up in the Expo. I'm not going to get into details about the technology as such. I'm just giving you some photographs, some vision for what can be done. And Vijay Bhaskar is there along with the rest of his team, and in the Expo downstairs, and he can give you a lot more details. This is an Anganwadi building that we have done in Karnataka. This is the prefabricated, the bare prefabricated panels that we make, which are then plastered with cement, sand, and we do concreting on the roof. So basically, the building turns out to be almost a concrete shell that's earthquake resistant. It's got insulation built in. The walls have galvanized steel, so the steel doesn't corrode as easily. And therefore, like, some of these technical attributes are very attractive to a lot of people. Again, a lot of very high-end farmhouses, villas, etc. At the same time, overall, the cost of construction is equivalent to RCC or even a little bit cheaper. This is a resort in Wayanad that we have done. Very interesting thing is that all these projects, they were done in a matter of days. Usually, a project, a resort project, etc., takes about a year and a half, 2 years to complete. Here, this was done, the entire resort was completed in less than 100 days. We have recently completed a model, a template house for the Tamil Nadu police. That entire house was completed in 45 days. And these are much more durable and they last longer than RCC. RCC, we just use mild steel which corrodes. Here we're using all galvanized steel. It's a much more higher quality, higher, a higher spec construction. This is a Class A office that we have done for Himalaya Drugs. Himalaya Drugs is one of the India's largest, most prestigious pharmaceutical companies. They've selected our technology for more than 7 projects. Again, all of this was completed in record time, maybe about 45 to 60 days. A huge mezzanine floor that was constructed on their premises. Again, a lot of villas constructed in record time. We're doing projects in about 11 states right now. Our material has been selected by a number of government and private organizations. Entire IIT Jammu, the walls, we have supplied the panels for the walls for IIT Jammu for the energy saving and the insulation, etc. So a number of people have come forward. It's a very exciting time. It's an example of disruption in the business space. And whatever skill development should happen or is happening should account for the disruption that's happening in the business space. So I would say that if you're going to invest resources, invest in resources that's going to help me build these kind of buildings. Because yes, we do have a lot of business and we are hiring, and ultimately, the construction that has to happen, or the people that are going to work on this, they need to have the skills that a business like me or any kind of newer type of business who are doing innovation and newer type of technologies, those skills have to account for that. As you know, this is not the only type of disruption that's happening. In fact, in transportation, there's huge disruption happening now. The fact is, most transportation, even the Indian government is encouraging it. It's definitely going to move to electric transportation. So tomorrow, in the next 5 to 10 years, are we going to have mechanics who are going to work on diesel and petrol engines? Maybe that's not the right sector to focus on. Maybe it should be maintenance of electric vehicles, maintenance of newer age technologies. That's what we need to focus on. Same thing with energy. Solar now has become so cheap that people, the thermal power plants may no longer be the primary source of energy production. Right, so just like this, there's so many new things coming up, and ultimately, skill development has to be forecasted in such a way that there has to be very close interaction with industry, so that the people who are doing the skill development have to understand where industry is going at a future point in time, so that the right skills and the right type of skill and the right number of people are trained for those jobs that will open up later. The other thing that's really good, that's a positive development in India now, is that most people, there's a lot of young people who now are going and doing startups. Um, if I see the trends now, there's a lot of wealth, a lot of wealthy people who, instead of putting money into something that's not societally effective, like land or gold, they are actually investing into startups. They're taking a risk and putting a portion of their wealth into startups. And it's a very encouraging development for India, because most job creation traditionally comes from small and medium scale enterprises. And these are the startups. This should definitely be encouraged. This should definitely be promoted, right? And I'm happy to say that the government of India, the union government, and also a lot of the state governments, they're being very proactive. They're being very aggressive in promoting these concepts, Startup India, Make in India, things like that, right? And most industries taking that as a challenge, and they're really working hard towards that as well. I mean, I can give you my own example. We were buying our machinery for making these prefabricated panels from China, and you know what? About 6 months ago, we decided we're going to do it ourselves. We got our own employees to kind of take up the challenge, and I'm happy to say that today we don't import anything from China. We don't need to import anything from China or anywhere else for that matter, right? Not that it came out of something where, some geopolitical situation, etc. But I feel, you should have the confidence. We should have the confidence to be self-reliant. We should be self-reliant. We should never depend on anybody else to be good to us, right? And when that moment comes, then the other side will understand that we have the self-reliance, self-strength to resist any kind of issue or event. Another important issue is quality. Quality, what I find is that we as in India, we are not accepting, or we are too accepting of substandard quality, right? You go on a road, where it meets the bridge, you have this huge bump, right? And that's because the soil subsides where next to the bridge, right? And these are basic things that in the Western world, these problems have been solved, but we still, are not investing, right, in the right kind of skills to assure a quality product, right? You see, every time it rains, the roads dissolve. Last year it was terrible. I didn't understand. I had a back problem because the car was going through so many potholes, right? And it was literally torture, because I drive a lot, and there's no need. And all of this happens because the right focus on quality is not there, and the right type of inspectors, integrity, all these processes are missing, right? And part of skill development should be that we have to inculcate a culture of quality. Now, if you see any Indian, any person in this room, you don't have a problem buying a Japanese product versus a made in India product if it's the same price, right? Now, we should think for ourselves, why is that? Right? Because we ourselves don't deliver a quality product when we work, right? So we ourselves should have that internal feeling that I'm going to give a quality product. In fact, we are trying to, as part of our business, we're trying to do some authorized licensees, engage with some authorized licensees for the actual construction part of our business. And the first thing I said is, in our agreement, the first clause should be a focus on quality. I don't care if you lose money or make money, but don't compromise on the quality of the construction. Okay, if that happens, then there's going to be a penalty imposed. So we have to have that focus on quality, and certification, skill upgradation, etc. should be part of the skill development programs, whatever is being designed by government, so that the right quality products come out. I believe that's that's very important in the Indian context. Finally, I want to end by saying change is the only constant, right? We as a society have to be ready to adapt to change. Change is happening, but if you have again the mindset that we are strong enough, we have the self-reliance to adapt to change in a successful way, and by partnering across institutions, across business, government, across industry, by partnering with the right people and accepting that change is happening, but yes, let's work together to adapt to this change successfully, then I think as a society we will be successful. I don't see any problem. I think India is now on the verge of a massive economic boom. I'm very, very optimistic. We went through some hurdles, etc., but now we have the right circumstances, to make this happen. Thank you all, and wish you the best. Thanks.